If you're somebody who experiences GERD or gastroesophageal reflux disorder, it could be really interesting looking into your methylation capacity to see if this is a potential cause. Now, of course, there are a lot of causes for GERD, so it's worthwhile looking into them, like, for example, H. pylori or some kind of physical deformity. But it is definitely a factor that many people don't often think about when it comes to methylation, when it comes to acid reflux. So let me explain the relationship here for you. We know that reflux can often be caused, not always, but can often be caused by too much stomach acid being produced. Now, if we think about the pathway here, what helps us to produce stomach acid? Well, one of the molecules that's really important here to stimulate us to produce stomach acid is histamine. This is something you may not know about, because of course, when we think of histamine, we often think about more allergic reactions, and things like hives and allergies and things like that. And certainly histamine has a big involvement in these pathways, but it does also play a role in helping us to produce stomach acid. And so let's say you're somebody who has a SNP or a polymorphism in one of the enzymes that's involved in methylation, and you're not able to therefore eliminate the histamine from your body once you have produced it. Let me explain a little bit more about this. So methylation is the process of putting a methyl group or a CH3 group onto molecules that we are trying to essentially get rid of. We've had enough of them in our body and we need to remove them. Histamine is one of the ones that is involved in this process, and which we use methylation to be able to eliminate the histamine from our body. So if you're experiencing symptoms that would indicate that you have higher than normal histamine levels, or that you're not able to remove the histamine from your body, and actually acid reflux is one of them, could be worth looking into your methylation capacity. Now, methylation is a series of many, many different steps, and it's not a matter of just kind of looking at one specific enzyme involved in the process, which is where people often go wrong. They'll look into their MTHFR, which is probably the most famous SNP involved in methylation, but there are numerous different enzymes involved in this process. So it's worthwhile looking into testing that can give you a really good overview. And certainly if you are not sure where to test, there's numerous different companies that I can tell you about. So certainly DM me if you're not sure, but it is worthwhile getting a really good broad look at all the enzymes involved in methylation to see whether or not you have lower methylation capacity. And it's really interesting to also look at other symptoms as well. Now, like I said, histamine, as we know, is involved in allergic reactions. So if you're finding that you are experiencing a lot of allergic symptoms often in your body, maybe this gives you a bit of another indicator that certainly histamine is finding it hard to get rid of histamine in your body. Other things might be experiencing things like diarrhea. That can also give you a bit of an idea of whether or not you have too high histamine. But certainly this isn't the only reason you get diarrhea. So it's definitely worth putting the picture together and then of course getting gene testing done as well. Other things that may indicate that your methylation capacity is lowered could be things like, mood disorders, anxiety, depression, things like that can often be related to having gene SNPs involved in the methylation cycle. But it could also be worthwhile trying to, even if you can't afford getting testing straight away, certainly trying out a methylated B vitamin could be interesting, and it could be interesting to see if your symptoms decrease when taking it. The reason for that is essentially you're providing your body more methyl groups. So if your capacity to be able to methylate is lowered and you add in a little bit more methyl groups, then your symptoms may decrease a little bit. But as I said, there are many different enzymes involved in this methylation process. And so it's worthwhile looking at actually which ones are polymorphisms specifically for you, which can give you a bit more of an idea of supplements you can use and what foods you might want to increase or decrease. If you have any more questions about this, let me know, but it's definitely an interesting one that people don't often think about when it comes to gastroesophageal reflux disorder.